How to teach a deaf baby sign language. For parents with normal hearing, communicating with a deaf child can be a challenge. Babies normally learn their language by listening to their caregiver's speech and recreating the sounds. Obviously, limitations in hearing ability prevent deaf babies from acquiring language skills through this method. Language experts have discovered that while hearing-impaired babies may not be able to use speech as their primary means of communication, their brain has the same capacity to learn language. Babies' brains are able to process words and meaning regardless of whether language is conveyed through speaking or hand signing. For this reason, early and frequent exposure to language is equally important for both deaf and hearing babies alike. From 2 months onward, babies start to become aware of their environment and their needs, which means that caregivers can begin to teach a baby that everything they can see has a name. To ensure your little one can communicate, follow these steps on how to teach a deaf baby sign language. 1. Since your child needs to develop fluency in sign language, it's better to start teaching signs from American Sign Language, ASL, instead of made-up ones. ASL is the predominant visual gestural language used in most English-speaking countries, with more than 2 million users in the United States alone. It can be taught and learned without listening or speech-reading skills. Start by introducing signs that your baby will frequently use every day, such as mom, dad, milk, more, and food. Use the signs whenever appropriate. For example, when you tell your baby, "Mommy loves you," accompany your words with the right gestures. If your baby seems to be asking for a second bottle, sign, "More milk?" 2. Keep in mind that you are learning ASL simultaneously with your baby. Get everybody in the family in the act. If you and your partner have other kids, get them learning and using ASL too. The constant exposure to sign language will strengthen your baby's language skills and promote closer bonding with other hearing members of the family. 3. Continue to use signs that you have already introduced, even as you introduce newer ones. From the names of objects around you, expand your family's ASL vocabulary to include more complex concepts like time, feelings, and descriptions of things and events that are not physically present. ASL can certainly accommodate the expression of these ideas. It is a wonderfully sophisticated natural language that even has its own grammar and syntax. You don't really have to worry too much about mastering grammar and syntax yet. But just like hearing children, deaf children will certainly benefit from being able to observe rich use of language. The achievement of language developmental milestones in deaf babies who have been adequately exposed to sign language parallel those of hearing babies. They start to communicate with gestures, such as pulling and pointing at around 6 months of age, and will usually sign their first word by 8 or 9 months. There are various classes and programs that can teach hearing parents how to teach a deaf baby sign language. Aside from teaching your child at home, it's also beneficial to promote and support integration into the deaf community as early as the toddler years. Some parents choose to enroll their kids into deaf residential schools, where deaf teachers fluent in ASL teach not only language, but also practical skills invaluable for coping in a hearing-centric world. Assimilation into deaf culture will give your child access to teachers equipped to deal with his learning style, and it will also lead to mentors and role models who can help your child develop a sense of equality and independence.